Hiya VC, back again, this time with an artist set, well, a set of records about one artist. Um, when I was doing, what was I doing? When I was doing my Gimme Tens from 81, 99, well, early 80s anyway, I showed a couple of Teardrops albums, and I think James Griffiths said, why don't you do a video about the Julian Cope vinyl you've got. So here we go. As you can see, I've got my Cope t-shirt on. This was the cover to one of the records. It's actually a t-shirt for his book Head On, which is a damn good read. So if you get hold of it, or if you get a chance of getting hold of it, then get it. It's good. Right, so of course, Julian Cope started off in the Teardrop Explosions. Before that, he was in a band with Ian McCulloch from Echo and the Bunnymen. And he was always really good friends with Pete De Freitas, who was the Bunnymen's drummer. More on that later. Yeah, he was in a band called the Crucial Three, I think they were called. Or bit Crucial Three? Yeah. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember who was the other person. I think it might have been Holly Johnson, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Might even have been guy from KLF, Bill Drummond. Was it Bill Drummond? Somebody anyway. But came to prominence with the Teardrops, and this was their debut album, which I've shown before, Kilimanjaro. This is just a fantastic record from start to finish, kind of like an update of a real early 80s update of Psychedelia. Just so many good tracks on this. Haha, I'm Drowning, Sleeping Gas, Treason, Reward, of course, which was the big hit single. Bouncing Babies, When I Dream, Thief of Baghdad, Books. Just an absolute brilliant album from start to finish. So that was their first one. They then followed it up a year later with a much more subdued record, which was Wilder. This is a late 80s reissue of this. And I actually made the choice of getting this version because I prefer this picture, which is on the t-shirt. Here we go. Rather than the bowl of flowers or whatever it was on the original version. Like I said, this is much more subdued. There are still some, more upbeat tracks, but you've got things. I mean, Bent Out Shape is a good single. Colours Fly Away. But you've got things like Falling Down Around Me, Passionate Friend, like Layla Khaled said, The Great Dominion. So it's a much more downbeat album, which Cope wanted to pursue further on sessions for their third album. Now, what happened when they started recording their third album is that Dave Balfe wanted to pursue a more dancey direction. So there was Cope wanting to do all these real inner-looking songs, quite downbeat, and then Balfe wanted to go off in a dance direction. So of course they split up during that. About 7 years later, I think it was about 1990, this was released, which is Everybody Wants to Shag, The Teardrop Explodes, which was, I think, going to be the original title for Kilimanjaro, but the record company said, nah. This is a record of two different halves. I mean, well, not even halves, it's just like it's been torn in two different directions. You've got the Cope songs like Metronome Vavin, Sex, which is in brackets Pussy Face. You've got more typical You Disappear From View, which is more typical of the Teardrops. But then you've got things that are out and out dancey. Now, I don't know whether they were remixed for this record, because they sound, for 1983, they would have been really ahead of their time. They sound like they were mixed in the sort of about 1989-90. They've got that kind of dancey feel to them. It's a very uneven record. It's not as good as the first two, despite what a lot of people say online. It just isn't as good. There's still some great tracks, and in fact, two of them ended up on Cope's solo album, in different versions. also got, also released later, this time by Bill Drummond, who was a manager of the Teardrops, is Piano. And this was a collection of early singles and tracks off an LP called The Shores of Lake Placid. And it's really nice to have these. Cope apparently hates this. He thinks it was just an absolute rip-off, which it probably was. I mean, Drummond is, yeah, well, he was out to make money, even though he did end up burning a load. But you've got early versions of Bouncing Babies. You've got Books, an early version of Books, which is a track that he Cope co-wrote with Ian McCulloch. And I think the Bunnymen have recorded it as well. So yeah, this is a really good roundup of their early stuff. Not great mastering, but I can't afford all the singles, so I got this instead. So, Cope laid low for a couple of years, and then he came back in '84 with 2 records. One, I think, is an absolute masterpiece. One is okay for me. It's still got brilliant tracks on it. Now, the masterpiece was his first one. This is World Shut Your Mouth. Now, this doesn't have World Shut Your Mouth on it, which he recorded later. But it's got things like Bandy's First Jump, Metronome Vavin, Elegant Chaos, which is a lovely track, Sunshine Playroom, which was kind of more of a suite of music in one song, kind of a 3-part song. And I remember reading, I think the first time I ever got interested in this was reading a review of My Sister's Smash Hits of the Sunshine Playroom single, and they compared it favourably with Bo Rap. Now, I love Bohemian Rhapsody, it's one of my earliest musical memories, and this does match. I think Sunshine Playroom is fantastic, but the best song on here is Collie Kibber's Birthday. It is absolutely just one of my all-time favourite tracks. It would definitely be in my top 10, I think. Just the way it builds, just fantastic. And then you've also got Head Hang Low, you've got Greatness and Perfection, which was a gorgeous single, on Lunatic and Fire Pistol. So just start to finish, this is another fantastic record by Cope. Just love it. So that's that one. He then came out later in the year with this one, which is Fried. And really, it was him going off the deep end on drugs, which is why it's called Fried. I mean, look at the cover. Dressed, wearing a turtle shell, crawling around the English countryside. There's the B-side. Sorry, the back. Now, this is a good album. For me, World Shut Your Mouth is better, but you got one of his best songs, Reynard the Fox, is the first song, and then you've got things like Laughing Boy, Sunspots, which is a brilliant song, O King of Chaos, Torpedo. I mean, it's just a great album. And I've seen people put this on the Gimme Tens for 1984. Great album. I think because of all the acid and other stuff that he took, he went away for a bit, and he came back in '86 with probably his most commercial record. Well, full stop, his most commercial record. It is St. Julian. Now, this was released in in '86, I think. It's his rock record. From Trampoline all the way through to A Crack in the Clouds, it is just rock. I mean, you've got things like Eve's Volcano, which is more of a typical Cope song, but Space Hopper, Planet Ride, Pulsar, Well Shut Your Mouth, which he recorded on this one, it is a rock record, and it's really good. It's absolutely fantastic record. Still got the lyric insert. There we go. Can't get it in now. There we go. record that. His record label then put pressure on him to come up with something equally as commercial, and what he did was came out with probably his weakest album of the first 10 years or so that he was recording, and this was My Nation Underground. There's still some good songs on here. Vegetation's a good song. Charlotte Ann, which was a single, reached the top 40. China Doll, which is quite not lovely. 5 O'Clock World, which is a cover of the Vogues. He's also recorded, I think, is that Roky Erickson's song, Easter Everywhere? I'm pretty sure that is. Excuse me. That's, I can't remember. Let's just check. Oh no, it's a Coke original. God, I can't remember. It's been a while since I played this record. The other ones I do play quite a lot, but this one, it's okay. He ended up hating it and slagged it off. And then right at the end of these sessions, he went back in to the recording studio and recorded what came this record, which is Skellington. This is just so stripped back. Whereas My Nation Underground was produced, it really was produced. This is just him with an acoustic guitar, maybe some drums or some bongos. You know, it's all very low key, very lo-fi, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He presented it to the records company. They said, no way. Really forward-looking record company. So he released it on Coco or Zippo, and if the stories are correct, he actually used to go around record shops just putting this in the bins, in the racks, so that people would get it, take it up to the counter, and they'd have no idea of where it came from. So I don't know if people paid for it. I don't know. I did pay for my copy, but I bought it back in when it came out. This is just fantastic. From Doomed, Me and Jimmy Jones. There's a brilliant song about Robert Mitchum. Just a brilliant song about Robert Mitchum. Out of My Mind on Dope and Speed. Don't Crash Here. Little Donkey. Great White Wonder. Incredibly Ugly Girl. No How, No Why, No Way, No Where, No When. Coming soon, just from start to finish. I know this record so well. What I did was I taped it, but it is just fantastic. Obviously still in contention with his record company. I don't know, he went in and recorded another lo-fi album. This is Julian. This is more odd, I guess is a word. It's got more instruments on it. It's not just him and a guitar. It's got some synths or some keyboards on it. At the time, this was released about the time of the poll tax revolt, and what he used to do was, or just before the poll tax revolt, and what he used to do was dress up as an alien called Squubsy, which is the first track on this album. Got things like Safe Surfer, Jelly Pop Perky Jean, which is sorry about that, just something came up on screen. Church of England 1991, When Will I Get to Hold You? It's another great album, just doing what he wanted and what he felt like. And then on the back, I think Roky Erickson had been put in mental hospital at the time, so there's his message to free Roky Erickson, of 13th Floor Elevators. Again released on Zippo. Then the final record I've got by Cope on vinyl, although his other stuff, later stuff, I do have some of it on CD, and it is all worth investigating. He's got such a sprawling discography. People he recorded as different people, like Queen Elizabeth. He recorded as Brain Donor. all kinds of stuff. But the last one I got on vinyl was Peggy Suicide, which is his double album of, it's kind of like an eco album. Just some brilliant songs on here. Pristine, East Easy Rider, which was his tribute to Pete the Freitas, who died in a bike accident. Hanging Out and Hung Up on the Line, Safe Surfer, Not Raving But Drowning, Beautiful Love was on here, which is a great single. Las Vegas Basement. Just a brilliant record from start to finish. It's a double, but it's really worth investing the time. And there's a picture of Squabsy. So either he or his mate, Donald Ross Skinner, were dressed up as Squabsy. And I remember seeing Squabsy at the Poll Tax March in 1990. Must have been 90. So yeah, so it's cool that Squabsy was there too. Right. The next album he released after this was Jehovah Kill, which I do have on CD. I don't think I have any hope of buying that on vinyl because at the moment I checked recently and it looked like the cheapest copy you can get is 50 quid. So I'm not getting that. So that's the end of my Julian Cope vinyl collection. Hope you get something out of that. Please go and investigate his records and music because he is an absolute genius. The arch druid himself, Julian Cope. Thanks VC. See you later.